hardware, you're gonna have mostly these same big long bolts. This is gonna put your whole frame together. Then you have only two of these to sit to the side. Then you have these smaller bolts. To start out, put a washer on each bolt, because as you're assembling the machine, you want a washer on both sides of the frame. Then you place a nut on there. So just to make it easier, usually I like to pre-assemble all my washers onto the bolts to get it set. And to keep a nice formation, I like to keep all the bolts uniform, meaning that you want to start with the nuts, the bolts going on the outside of the frame. The nuts will be on the inside of the frame. You want to keep that formation throughout the whole machine so everything look uniform. What I don't like is having some of them going this way on the machine and some of them going that way. Not that it's gonna hurt anything or, you know, mess up the machine. It just doesn't look right. So keep everything uniform. Everything will go from the outside in, and your nuts will be on the inside. The opposite side, the same thing. Outside in, nuts and washers will be on the inside, so everything look uniform. Next step will be putting these uprights in. You have an right side up and an upside down. This is your bottom part. You have that one hole right there. It's gonna go right here. These screws are already in it. You're just gonna take that out, add a washer to it, back it out, and place that in there. And then you'll notice there's a hole right here. So you see the hole right there on the poles too. So that hole is gonna line up with this hole. That hole right there is gonna line up with that hole, with this bolt hole too. So you wanna make sure these are facing inside the machine, not spent out. You don't want to have it twisted outwards like this. You want to have it like that. So you're just gonna lift that up, put it right onto there, and put a bolt through there on both sides. And then also you have these posts here. They're gonna go right in the front on top of those. And you're gonna use these two screws right here with washers to go in there. Now these are left and right too as well. You want to make sure this handles are facing on the outside of the machine. You want to make sure these numbers are facing inside of the machine. So when you're inside of the rack, you can read the numbers. So you want to make sure when you're inside this rack, those numbers, you will be able to see it on the inside of the machine. So you don't have to go on the outside. And those handles will be on the outside right here to lift up and down. These handles right here that I'm referring to. Okay, it should look like this when you finish it, but a correction on the bolts for this right here, you actually want to not using those short bolts I mentioned. You want to use the longer bolts to go through, which is these right here. Also, a correction on both sides. There's a couple of longer screws, longer bolts that's in this mix, so do not use them on this frame. If the screw is sticking out too much, that means it's the wrong one, so do not use those long ones yet. You'll have more of those than these longer ones, so I didn't count them out yet. So just make sure you're using the shorter ones where it's not protruding through the metal too much. Your next step is these upright bars right here. They're gonna go right on top of these two Allen head screws. You want to remove those, add washers to them, place that down. You have two of them. And to know which way is right, front or back, you're gonna see these wide holes right here. They're gonna face towards the back because that's gonna be where your weight horns is gonna go on there. So it's gonna go. Excuse the background noise. So it's gonna go just like this on both sides, making sure those big holes are in the back. Okay, this is what it looked like so far with the uprights. Just one key note, because I left that out. With these two back uprights, there is an upside down and right side up. Because of these mounting brackets, you can mistakenly put it upside down. But to keep in mind, like I said, you have to make sure those holes, the big holes, are in back, because those are for your weight tree horns. But you have to make sure these two screws are towards the bottom, because I made the same mistake of having one up top and one on the bottom, because these two screws is where your they'll match up with these screws on the side, and these will be your side panels to cover the weights will go into those. So you want to make sure the two screws are towards the bottom, and if you have it upside down, they will be up top. So just make sure they're on the bottom. Now you're gonna put your back brace in. So you have two of these back braces.
All right, yeah. Chris, take care.
Two of these back braces. The one on the bottom will have no holes in it, so make sure you don't switch them up. The one with no holes, meaning these holes right here, these go up top. That's gonna be your back plate. It's gonna mount to that with your instructions for how to work out will mount to that. The lower one has no holes, so you just make sure the one goes on the bottom with no holes, the other one goes on the top with holes. Next step is putting these two bars up top. You will have these screws already screwed into the frame. You're just gonna take them out and add washers to them. I'm adding washers, hoping this is our first one that we're putting together, that it'll be enough washers for the rest of them. If not, you may have to just buy a few more washers or take the chance and put them in without the washers. I just prefer to have washers on everything. So you're gonna put these up top. You see the 4 holes there, 2 holes on each post. You're just gonna set this up on top. That's gonna be your back end. This will be towards the front. And as you see, these holes right here is the same as those holes. So you can connect this bar right into those. So you're just gonna flip those up on top. Make sure you have that towards the front of this bar, which would be no problem because it's leaning in, and just screw those down on top. Okay, next step is the weight plates. All right, first you wanna set up your 2 poles. You're gonna have 4 poles that's the same, and you're gonna have 2 poles that's thicker. Those other 2 poles that's thicker, those are for your Smith bar. These 4 poles that's the same size as your weight plate bar. So slide them into the holes on the bottom, and you will find 4 of these rubber bushings. Put 2 on each side. You're gonna find 6. The other 2 is gonna be, they're gonna be wider holes. That's gonna be for the Smith bar pipes. So put the 2 bars in, and you're gonna add 23 of these weight plates on top. Then you're gonna slide this on top of them once you're finished. Then we'll go to the next step after we get the weight plates on. Okay, now we're gonna do the cable run. So you're gonna get your cable, start it out with fishing it right between the 2 front pulleys. Then you wanna go up over that pulley, go between that little frame here, go back, come over right over top of the weight stack, go keep it up top to ride on top of that pulley, go down between these caps. I forgot to mention, find these 2 parts here and put them right on top of the weight stacks. So you'll have holes in these. You want to come down between those holes go down around the pulley, back up through the other hole, go around these two pulleys up here, go around the two pulleys. Now you want to come down. In the beginning, I told you to put the bottom plates on, but it covers the pulleys to be able to put your cables, so leave those off and put them on at the end. So go down to the two bottom pulleys, go across the two bottom pulleys, come back out of that hole. Now come up to the back of this, the back of your front pulley. There's a little connection right here with 3 Allen head screws. Just slide it up till you hit the top and then tighten up these 3 screws. So I'll give you a little backup just so you can see the run. So through the front, go through the middle of the front, go up over that top pulley, go straight back, ride the top of the rail, go across that back top rail, go down in between the that little frame on top, go down, grab that pulley, go back up through that frame, then go over those 2 pulleys, then go all the way down through the frame, and there's 2 pulleys underneath. Go around those 2 pulleys and go back up and connect onto the back of that front pulley. So you're going right back to where you started, connect it into that hole and tighten up the 3 screws. Do that on both sides and you're finished your cable assembly. Okay, now we're gonna put in our 2 top plates. You wanna make sure the ExCore name is facing upright, because you have, if you switch it around, you can have it kind of upside down or backwards. So make sure they're facing upright. You wanna sandwich them in. What I do is put one in the middle and sandwich them 2 together. If you're working by yourself, then you can teeter-totter it to get one in the back so it can hold it up, and then start putting all of your bolts in there. These 2 right here is where your pull-up bar is gonna go, so you're gonna use the longer 2 screws to go on both sides for the pull-up bar. Then the weight stack holder, that bracket that's right there, you just put the 2 to make sure you're going through that bracket. These 2 screws right here, you just wanna center this over and then tighten those up too as well. So do this on both sides, putting those plates up and sandwich them in on both sides. You'll have the ExCore fitness on both, ExCore on both sides. Just make sure they're upright to line up. Do that on both sides and then you can tighten it all up. The bottom, like I said in the beginning, I had you put the bottom plate on but not tighten it up. That should have went last because it's hiding all of the cable access to grab those pulleys. So the bottom, just sandwich that back in and tighten those up, and you're almost done. And at that point, once you get the pull-up bar on, then you can start tightening up all the bolts, the nuts and bolts. Okay, this is with the pull-up bar on. Tighten up everything left and right. Go through all the bolts that you put in and tighten up everything. At the bottom of these weight plates, you'll see 2 Allen head screws. Tighten those up too as well. It'll stop the post from lifting up when you pull on the weights. Next step is the Smith bar. So you want to put your Smith bar and just start with hooking the Smith bar on these on the Smith bar hooks, just to get it set. Earlier in the video, I may have told you to put these bottom plates on, but leave those off into the very end because you cannot get this Smith bar in with these plates in a way. So a few times throughout the video, I probably had you assemble those bottom plates, but they prevent you from doing your cables, for the weight stacks, and it prevents you from doing the Smith bar. So again, start with hooking the Smith bar into place on these bars right here. Doesn't matter which one, you just want to get it, just set up. Next step, get one of these bars and you're gonna assemble the parts on there. So you're gonna start with sliding this on here, having the mounting bolts facing forward. Slide this on. Then the next step, you can slide them from the bottom to the top. It doesn't matter. I slide them from the bottom up. So slide this on first, then slide this rubber bushing on here. Then slide these safety guards on there. Notice the angle. There's a left and a right. So make sure you have the left where it's supposed to go. It's going to be on an angle like that to grab the bar. And then you'll see your right one with the angle the other way. So if you put them the wrong one on the wrong side, it will not work. So start with sliding this on first, then a rubber bushing, then slide this safety bar on, then slide the spring on the bottom. Then as you have that whole assembly, you want to take the bar, slide it up through the hole at first, up through the top hole at first, and then set it into the hole on the bottom. Then it's an Allen head screw to tighten it up to keep it into place. Do that on both ends. Then next is gonna be putting the bolts on. See how I have it where this glide bar right here, it's on the outside, and the bar with the Smith bars on the inside. One step I forgot to mention is these are off too. So slide those in, and you'll see these little tips. So when you slide them on, there's a left and a right too. Slide them on, make sure these tips are in the back, facing where the mounting parts are in the back, and this tip is in the back. That's your stop plate for the Smith bar. So when you unrack, it'll hit this so you don't go any farther than where you need to go. So slide that in and then mount it where it overlaps on the outside, and do that on both sides. Same thing, and the glide plate is on the outside. Wait a minute, I have one of mine on the outside and one on the inside, so I have to switch off. So this one I have wrong, so I have to spin this around to push it where this plate will be on the outside, and then tighten up everything. Okay, now that your assembly is done for your Smith bar, you may or may not need adjustments. Like, see the spacing in there? There's no set spacing. You just don't want that bar scraping the, you don't want this scraping the metal. So you got adjustments right here. You can loosen this up and move it in and out. This one wasn't scraping, but it was so close, so I kind of keep them where it's not so close to it. But it's no set spacing. You just don't want it all the way to the edge. Just keep it like right around close to there or a little over. But it's like I said, it's no set spacing. You just don't want it scraping the metal when you go back and forth. These right here are your safeties. So when you're working out, you just set this when you're working out by yourself. So if you drop it, it'll catch those plates. All of these other parts are just snap-ons. This is your dip bar attachment. You just lift it up, slide them into the hole, and then let them lay down. There's a left and right. You want them to fold in on the inside. So if you put this on the opposite side, it'll be upside down. The same as these are your safety spotters. So if you're working out with free weights off the front, you put these on and do your squats or bench press. You set them at the level of, say if you're doing chest, you can set them at the level to your chest, that if it gets too heavy and you let them go, it'll land on that and not on your chest. And dip bars, you can move them up to whatever position that's comfortable for you to do dips on. These are your J hooks for doing, your free weights off the front. These, if you put them on left or right, it's not going to make so much of a difference. They'll, like right now, it's facing on the opposite side, different than these. So if you bring them and put them opposite, it'll just cover the plate like that on the inside. So those are just for your doing your free weights. Then you have a leg press attachment. These holes right here just to set your leg plate that sits on this. And those are just different positions you can set them in. This is the leg press plate right here. So it would just snap on and snap into those holes when you place it on there. And then you can lay on a floor or on a bench to do your leg press. I typically lay on the floor, so if you have long legs and you use a bench, most likely you'll bottom out and hit the top frame trying to do leg press. In your box, you're gonna see this right here comes with it. That bar will go in the back with the exercise attachment. This monitor and this plate right here, which you see on our display, these are upgrades for, you know, to show you how to use your machine and to show you how to do workouts. The workouts is a paid subscription. The just to show you how to use your machine is free. So these are not included in your machine, but you can purchase them separately. And in your box, you will have the plastic handles, and you will also have these handles, so whatever you prefer to use. Then on these sidebars, you'll see these little circles with the Allen head key. You want to put those in to cap off the end so those don't slide back off. And you will notice the weights are taller than a side plate. Is because we had custom ordered to max these out with weight plates, so they're taller than the side panels. These machines normally come with 150 pounds or 32 pounds of weight stacks on each side. We max them out to 220 pounds on each side, so that's why they're taller than the side plates. This part down here is your foot plate for doing bent rows, or seated rows rather. You can mount it on the left or on the right, it doesn't matter. And then you have your bar for doing bent rows. You would slide your Olympic bar into that and then do your bent rows.